Virginia Assembly would also be home to a Continental Congress and a Constitutional Convention. Second Continental Congress begins meeting in here in May of 1775. We believe they were seated each colony to a table, geographically, from north to south. And they have a war in their hands, because fighting had broken out in Massachusetts between New England militiamen and British regular troops on April 19th of 1775. A war that spreads to all 13 colonies, and a war about our rights as British subjects. But that changes significantly in January of 1776 with the publication of a pamphlet called Common Sense, written by Thomas Paine, and pointed out such things as Americans can and should be able to govern themselves. Common sense changes American opinion so much that on June 7th, it is a very confident Richard Henry Lee of Virginia who stands to present the resolution that these united colonies are and upright ought to be free and independent states. With those words, the contractions begin, but there are men in the room who are not ready for this. So a couple of things happen. First, it's agreed that any vote for independence should be unanimous. And as a concession, they will allow a Declaration of Independence to be written just in case they need one. They will stall the vote for 3 weeks. 3 weeks come and go, and the big day is July. Trick question, July 2nd. The debates begin on July the 1st. Right away, 3 states are opposing independence. They continue into the next day, and they are dominated by John Adams of Massachusetts. On the afternoon of July the 2nd, independence is voted for in this room. Well, you might be thinking, what about the 4th? That all had to do with that declaration. The delegates will spend more than 2 days making more than 70 changes to Thomas Jefferson's original text. But on July the 4th, everybody in the room agrees to what it is they will tell the world, why they're doing what they are doing by adopting the Declaration of Independence. Then there was no CNN to cover events live. Americans tended to believe what they read. That is how we come to celebrate it on this day. They will have a legal copy of this declaration, one that the delegates will sign. The signing takes place in this room on August 2nd of 1776. Now, it's one thing to declare independence, and it's something else again to achieve it. That takes 7 more years of war. They are loosely tied together under a central form of government called the Articles of Confederation. And while we have a military threat, that seems to work. But when the war is over in 1783, these states turn against each other. Things get very bad very quickly. So much that a convention is called for to meet here in Philadelphia, beginning in May of 1787, to fix the articles. That convention takes place in this room. It is presided over by George Washington, who sat in that chair. That chair is original. Now the delegates know that they cannot fix the articles, that they will need to create a new form of government. So through the long, hot summer of 1787, they debated, who should this government represent? How should representation be counted? What kind of an executive? But on September 17, 1787, prepared for signing at the front of the room, is the Constitution of the United States. A rather unique form of government, and today it is over 227 years old. Benjamin Franklin was a delegate to that convention, also a signer of the Declaration. And at the end of the convention, he had this to say. He said, during the course of these debates, I had often looked at the sun on the back of the president's chair, trying to determine if it was a rising or a setting sun. At last, at length, I have the happiness to know that indeed it is a rising and not a setting sun. Now, I do not believe Dr. Franklin was talking about his furniture. I believe that he was talking about the dawning of a new nation within this room, a nation conceived in liberty, dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And while I am quoting Abraham Lincoln, I would like to point out that in this room, in April of 1865, Lincoln's body had lied in state. It had stopped here as it was making that final journey to Illinois. So please keep in mind that none of this is without a cost. That concludes my presentation. We'll be going out the door and to the right. I will meet you at the door if you have any questions, and if not, I will thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope you have a great evening.